Hello and welcome. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. It is Thursday. It is 7 a.m. It is the 22nd day of July, 2021. We want to thank Robert McAlister and Seth Games and Anime for giving us a stack of discarded cards from the pre-release of Adventures in the Forgotten Realm Magic set. Yes, I said I would never give money to Wizards of the Coast, but these were free. They were left over from the tournament, as usual. And so now we can take a look at them. At least a few of them. Obviously, these are mostly commons. And right now, we're just looking at the first of our set. These are all the special cards. And seeing what, if anything, we can tell clue-wise. So our very first card here is a legend. This is Tresselera, the Moon Dancer. I don't know who she is. And her thing is, whenever you get life, put a +1/+1 counter on Tressella, Moon Dancer, and scry for 1. And let's see, it says, Alestere teaches us that we are not bound by the circumstances of our birth. We may find beauty and light if we have the courage to seek them. So I guess she's one of these new good Drow post changes to the Drow. Now Drow aren't evil anymore. And I guess she's a cleric of Elistry, the Drow goddess of the stars. So no real clues there, other than, of course, acknowledging the inherent change that they made to the Drow. All right, then we have this cool green dragon figure card. No flavor test on this. He's a flying, and he has poison breath. When dragon enters the battlefield until end of turn, whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, destroy it. That's pretty awesome. Nice looking alternate art there. Definitely you could use this as a token for when the party fights a dragon. If you don't have a dragon figure, you could just put this down and say, here's the dragon you're fighting. That's what I'm going to use it for. If they're fighting a dragon and I don't have a dragon figure, just put this card down instead. So this has a future use. I could use this for an NPC if I wanted to show them what an NPC looks like, except I don't really like the art. All right, then we have this, one of the dungeon cards. Now I have, and on back, there's a skeleton. So this is a flip card. We've got a skeleton token creature card, and then, of course, we have this map thing. So this could be a map you could give the players that they find, and you could use the writings as like hints of what they would find in the encounters. This one is Lost Mines. I don't know how this dungeon mechanic works in D&D. In Magic the Gathering. I guess you have to go through the whole thing to get each of the advantages, and meanwhile your opponent's trying to do the same thing, or I really don't know how this mechanic works. It's interesting to see a drastic change in mechanics. So I could use this as a prop to give players if they found a map, and then they use these as hints at what they might find in the rooms. Or I could use it as a skeleton token if they were fighting a really big skeleton. So either way, I'll probably use it as a map. So yeah, that has a use. And then here we have another one. Dungeon of the Mad Mage, same thing. Goblin token on the back. So I could use this to give them as a prop for a map they find and use the writings as clues. So again, that has a use. Here we have a wolf token for them if they fought a wolf. Obviously, this is really too big to be a useful D&D wolf. Unless it's like a gigantic wolf. So yeah, I don't know if I'd use this. And here we have alternate art Red Dragon. My camera's not doing these justice, obviously, but you get a general idea. And his ability is Flying and Flame Breath. When Red Dragon enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Ouch. But again, this alternate art, you could use it as a token to represent a dragon on the table, which is what I would use it for. Here we have a spider token for if they were fighting a giant spider. That's definitely, a pretty scary giant spider. And here we have one of the alternate art, classic art cards from like old Munster manual. So this is a Manticore, and we've got some, no, I thought this one had some flavor tests on it. So this is just useful for Again, showing them a token of a creature that they might be fighting, but also because it's the old alternate Monster Manual art. And the same with this. Here's a Mimic. Really, you could use this as a token to represent a giant Mimic slime, or just, because it's awesome alternate art, you could put this on like a DM screen or use it to represent something. So yeah. And here we have Tomb of Annihilations, again map. And on the back we have the token for the creature from Tomb of Annihilation, the Tropple, the source of the death curse. So here would be a good token to represent like a giant demon they were fighting. So that's got a use. All right, now here we have some artifact cards, and the first one we have is Icing Death, the legendary Frostbrand of Drizzt. So I would use this. If they ever found a Frostbrand, I would give them the card and say, here's a card that represents the weapon you find. If you lose this card, you've lost the weapon. And it gives you a physical representation of what the weapon actually looks like. So that's useful. Same with this one. We got one for Great Axe. Yeah, there's flavor text, but nothing that it gives me a hint. Here's one for the Spare Dagger. Again, you could give this as a, somebody finds a dagger that you want to say is magical and different. You give them this card to represent it. This one's pretty obvious. Treasure map. You guys find a treasure map. Here's the card of the treasure map. As long as you hold on to this, you can find where the treasure is located. But if you lose this card, you've lost the treasure map. And finally, one for leather armor. Again, if they found some magic leather armor, you could give them the card. Say this is the card that represents what the magic leather armor is and does. If you lose this card, you've lost the magic leather. This is a nice physical example of the leather armor. And again, some flavor texts, but nothing that gives us a hint story-wise of what's going on. So this is just the first batch. We're just looking at the unusual special cards, and which one of these I'd actually use. I'd use the maps. I'd use the these big monster ones as tokens. This Mimic one, it's too big to be a D&D monster, but I could use it like on a DM screen just for some art. These dragon ones, definitely, if you want to show somebody a dragon on the field and you don't have a dragon figure. And these artifact ones are perfect, which is, the original idea is to just give them a card, and you could say, if it has special talents, you could write it on the back, or, staple a piece of paper to it, to the actual abilities, or just say, this is the artifact, but you don't know what it does. I, the DM, know what it does. Or you could just say it does exactly what it says on the card. It gives you +1 armor class or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it just definitely is a token that you could use. So that's the first batch. We have several more, but we're going to do these in sections so you don't get too exciting or too bored, and it gives you something to look forward to for the rest of the day, week, or however long it takes me to go through them. I have a bunch for each color. I tried not to get any duplicates. So obviously, some of them have a use, some of them do not have a use. I don't really like the art on a lot of these. I understand the choices of why the change of art, but it really just sort of, I don't know. It definitely makes me want to play. Not Magic, because I'll never, Magic was ruined for me when I caught a friend cheating. And it's just too expensive. But, they'd be great props for D&D. So that's the first round. We will have more if you want to see this. If you don't, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, bloody, hackety, schmackety, 1,000 subs. You know the rest. Have a great day. We will do more of this later. I will talk to you soon. Now, tap 1 green mana to buy me a soda.